Beloved ones, we are the Arcturians. We come to you this day to talk to you about the language of emotion. While your consciousness is primarily embedded within your third dimensional form of clay, you have the ability to manipulate the articulators of that form to produce the sounds that originate as thoughts within your brain. Those sounds are often known as language. However, as you move more and more into your light body, you will no longer have the articulators of your physical form. Therefore, sound will not go through the passage of your articulators, and your thoughts will no longer be put into neural patternings that are fed to your tongue, your glottis, your lungs. Instead, your thoughts will be alive. Your thoughts will be shared with others. For the limitations of the third dimensional world, in which the perception of life must be contained within an object of form, will no longer apply. You have experiences of this now in your dream state. For while you are dreaming, you are communicating with others. You may even seemingly be talking with your mouth. But you know that you are not doing so unless you are sleeping and talking in your sleep. Those of you who have moved deeply into the process of meditation have also had many communications with beings of the higher frequencies such as ourselves, which speak to you directly via consciousness. They do not speak to you via what you have experienced in your third dimensional world as sound. They speak to you as emotion. For a thought without emotion has no direction. That does not mean that it is not an object, as you might call it. In the higher dimensional worlds, thoughts are how you take the formless form and bring it into a package. But emotion is that first breath that brings the thought into life. And once the thought is alive, it is a thought form. It is a package of energy that holds the intentions of your thoughts and the breath, so to speak, of your emotions. We say breath, for that is something to which you can relate, such as the first breath that one takes upon their birth. This is similar to these light codes, these packages of information. Therefore, communication is light, for when you think, there is a neural patterning that goes on within your brain, and this neural patterning occurs because of the photons of light. And as we have said before, these photons of light are timeless. They are not bound by your physical form. So even though you may not be aware of it, the thoughts that you hold are photons of light that travel throughout the multiverse. In this manner, your thoughts have a great deal of influence on your reality. You may have realized that on certain days when your thoughts are more filled with fear, that things do not seem to go your way. You might have also realized on days when your thoughts are filled with love that everything just seems to flow in a blissful, wonderful manner. The way that you share these thoughts is through your emotion, because your emotion brings these thoughts into life. When you are traveling in the higher frequencies of reality, which are indeed real, now to your third-dimensional brain that still, perhaps, believes that something must have an external form in order to be real. However, for those of you who have expanded your consciousness into your delta waves and even your theta waves, have been able to increasingly have experiences with beings that are no longer wearing a dense form. You may or may not see them encased in some shape of form, and even if you do, that form is very luminous and wavers and moves as you commune with it. As you communicate with these beings, you feel the light of their beingness, which causes a reaction to the light within your physical brain. And that light within your physical brain wants to be expressed. But your human articulators are of no use to these great beings, for that is much as what you would call a buggy whip, back in the days when people rode with horses and carts. They do not need the articulation. It is very slow, and it is of such a dense and low frequency that it is not below their perception, for they are able to lower their perceptions into the physical world, but it is not their choice. You are able to lower your perceptions into the realms of fear, but that is not your choice. And what you need to realize is that your physical world is highly tainted by fear. Therefore, the higher beings with whom you are now beginning to speak, it is not their first choice to lower their perceptions into the physical world. Furthermore, it is their purpose, their mission, and their greatest joy to assist you in allowing your perceptions to expand into the higher worlds. Therefore, when you are in the process of what you call communication via meditation, your brain waves resonate to theta or delta waves. Within these frequency waves, your perceptions are pulled into a higher frequency, just as your consciousness is pulled into a higher frequency. For your perceptions and consciousness are intimately bound. As you are well aware, if your consciousness is low and you are filled with fear and anger, if you look around your world, you will see what is wrong. However, if your consciousness is expanded, you perceive a very different world. You will feel the love of others. You will look up into the sky, beyond the smog, beyond the pollution, and into the higher realms that you are calling into your reality. Most important, when your consciousness is low, you feel fear, and fear includes anger and depression and anxiety and guilt and shame and remorse. When you are trapped within this emotional world, you are bound to the third dimension. You are bound to that which creates fear. And once this binding is created, it can be most difficult to release yourself. That is why many of our dear emissaries from the higher realities have moved their consciousness down into the third dimension to assist you to look up. Look up within your heart. Look up within your mind. Look up in frequency. So in reality, a higher frequency isn't above you and a lower frequency is below you. But your third dimensional thinking thinks of up as above and down as below. We, of course, are speaking in terms of up and down, as up into a higher frequency and down into a lower frequency. And all of these frequencies swim around and intermingle within a great sea of consciousness. If any of you have ever swam in the ocean, you will know that you will go through pockets in which the ocean is cold, and then you will go through pockets in which the ocean is warm. It is the same way with these great cosmic seas of consciousness. And the way that you find the warm areas of light is that you calibrate your consciousness to love. And the way that you experience the cooler or cold energies is that you calibrate your consciousness to fear. There are not many of you that actually choose to calibrate your consciousness to fear. Mostly, this calibration to fear is a learned behavior that you have learned through myriad incarnations upon the body of Earth. So we are not saying to release that skill, for your Earth is not yet free of fear. However, we ask that you balance that recognition of fear with the recognition of love. It is in this manner that you begin to open your awareness to the language of emotion. For just as what you say with your articulators sets your consciousness, just as what you think with your brain calibrates your consciousness to that frequency of perception, the language of emotion calibrates your language structure. We say language structure, for language is a matrix. It is a matrix that you create by combining your thoughts with your emotions. For example, if you wake up and you say, "Oh, what a beautiful, glorious day. I've had a wonderful dream. And I woke up this morning thinking, what is the language of emotion?" You are already calibrated to love upon your very awakening. Now, if you were to go into the special meditation area that you have, of course, created for yourself, and sit down, perhaps have a warm drink, and read something that allows you to maintain this higher state of consciousness. And then as you have finished this reading, you put down your book, you put down your cup, and you allow yourself to move primarily into that state of consciousness of what is the language of love. First off, realize that language is something that creates emotional reactions. If you're just walking through your home and one of the members of your family comes to you, says, "Good morning, my dear," gives you a big hug, loves you warmly, and asks you how you are doing, they have just shared with you a package of love. And think about your day. Think about how many times you remember to share that package of love with others, and how many times throughout your day that you may share a package of fear. Now, you can talk about your fear in a loving fashion. You can say to a dear friend, "Oh, please assist me, for I am being swamped by negative emotions today. Can you help me work through this?" Now you have asked your friend in a loving manner to assist you, and your friend, whom you know is one that you can share this message with, will, of course, talk with you in a loving fashion to help you to shift your consciousness out of that lower frequency of fear into a higher frequency of love. That higher frequency of love is the core to the language of emotion. For as we have said, this language of emotion is the primary language. As you move your consciousness more and more into the higher frequencies of Gaia, if you could see the glory of all the pockets of higher frequency that are rising on Gaia's surface, you would be filled with unconditional love and multidimensional joy.